Hey Siri, do you know what the three laws of robotics are?
Let's see if I can remember. Okay, I think the three laws are 1. Clean up your room, 2. Don't run with scissors, and 3. Always wait a half hour after eating before going in the water.
You think we should be worried about that?
That's how you get ants!
In 1942, a short story called Runaround introduced the world to Isaac Asimov's Three Laws of Robotics. While the laws have been referenced in earlier works, this was the first time they were explicitly stated. The laws were hardwired into robots, a final failsafe to keep robots in check. The laws were so strong they've been incorporated in other forms to robots in science fiction beyond Asimov's worlds. The ironic thing is that most of Asimov's robot stories were a dissection of how those laws could break down or be circumvented. In 1950, a collection of Asimov's robot stories were compiled into the collection I, Robot. He used Dr. Calvin, a robo-psychologist, as a framing device. If you haven't read it, come on, they're short stories. And if it complies with the three laws, today we're finding anything nice to say about I, Robot. Oh, Will Smith. Back again, I see. Well, this time don't listen to them because I, Robot is kind of great. The 2004 adaptation, as you may have guessed, is not an anthology but comes most closely to the final story of the book, The Evitable Conflict. It's 2035. Will Smith plays Spooner, a detective with a seemingly incomprehensible prejudice against robots. He loves vintage Chuck Taylors from 2004 and his grandma's sweet potato pie. Smith's charm collides a bit with Spooner's curmudgeonness in a sort of bittersweet blend. Spooner recently suffered a trauma and is just coming back to work. We catch a brief glimpse of Shia LaBeouf. More on that later. No, wait. No more on that later. We see him enough to care for Spooner to save him later, and that's it. On his way to work, Spooner sees a robot running with a purse. He chases it only to see that it was bringing a woman her inhaler. He gets ribbed for it at work. There's the normal talk about him coming back too soon. He gets a phone call from a dead man. At US Robotics, or USR, Dr. Alfred Lanning, played by James Cromwell, has committed suicide. He has left behind a holographic projector for Spooner. The CEO of USR, played by serious case of bad guy face Bruce Greenwood, shoves Spooner off on Dr. Susan Calvin. You know, like the lady from the book. Played by Bridget Moynihan. They investigate. Spooner is intent on finding a killer, specifically a robotic one. As he searches the room, an NS5 robot leaps out of a box at him. After being told to shut down, it ignores the order and escapes with a bullet through its hydraulics as a parting gift. Calvin takes Spooner to an NS5 construction facility. The NS5 is hiding in a group of freshly manufactured robots. We get a creepy "one of us" moment until Spooner gets sick of it and starts shooting robots in the face. He has determined that this robot has put preservation of the self above the other laws.
These things are just lights and clockwork.
Are you crazy?
Let me ask you something, Doc. Does thinking you're the last sane man on the face of the earth make you crazy? Because if it does, maybe I am. Gotcha.
It does, in fact, give itself away. After a chase, the robot escapes the facility only to be met outside by the Chicago Police Department. It is taken into custody. Against his better judgment, the lieutenant allows Spooner to question the robot, which leads us to the robot, voiced by Alan Tudyk, revealing its name is Sunny. The USR CEO shows up to claim company property. He has spoken with the DA. Robots can't murder. Only a human can murder another human. Robots are machines. All they can do is malfunction. Spooner isn't satisfied. He goes to Lanning's house to investigate. A demolition robot is scheduled to begin deconstruction at 8 a.m. in the morning. Inside, Spooner finds a cat and surveillance equipment from the main robot brain of USR, Siri. No, I mean Vicky. As he is watching lectures from Lanning, the robot is rescheduled to begin demolition at 8 p.m. It starts to destroy the house with Spooner inside. He saves the cat, of course, and heads over to Calvin's to discover an NS5 updating on the couch. He won't talk to her in front of it. Spooner is then attacked by 2 trucks of NS5s, which drive him off the road. He is fighting with one of them after the crash and starts using his left arm, a cybernetic one. Spooner is part robot. When it hears sirens coming, the robot destroys itself in the wreckage. With no evidence of the crash, it was cleaned up by robots, Spooner is blamed because he was driving manually and is taken off duty. Calvin, after examining Sunny, has her own suspicions. Sunny has a second brain that allows him to override the three laws, and he has a stronger alloy than other NS5s. He is unique. She reaches out to Spooner. While at his house, she notes the extent of his replacements. He tells her he was in a car accident, forced off the road into a river by a truck driver asleep at the wheel. He was pinned against another car. Despite his pleas to save the girl, a robot saved him and not the 12-year-old in the other car. The robot calculated Spooner had a higher chance at survival. Now he's haunted by the memories. The pair head to USR to interview Sunny. As they do, the new iPhone, the NS5s, are rolling out, and the obsolete robots are being taken away. They interview Sunny. He reveals a recurring dream he has had about the savior of the robots. It is at a dried-up Lake Michigan dump site. Spooner goes to investigate while Calvin kills Sunny with positron-eating nanites. At the Lake Michigan site, Lanning's holographic projector unlocks to reveal robotic evolution. NS5s arrive to begin killing the older model robots. They go after Spooner. As he flees, all the outdated robots begin jumping to their doom against the NS5s in order to save him. The NS5s impose a curfew. They start attacking people. Shia LaBeouf comes back at this part. Back at USR, Spooner is convinced that Always Evil CEO is controlling the robots through the red uplink. When they get to the headquarters, the CEO is already dead. But Sunny is still alive. Calvin switched the bots. They discover that the real problem is Siri, Vicky. Calvin sends Sunny to get the nanites. Vicky locks them out and sends waves of robots after them. Their only hope is to descend down 30 floors to inject the nanites directly into her brain. As Sunny arrives, Calvin is dislodged from scaffolding. Spooner yells for him to save the girl. Sunny is making the calculations of his chances of success when Spooner yells Sunny save Calvin.
Save the girl!
But I must apply the nanite.
Sunny, save Calvin!
Sunny tosses the nanites to Spooner, who jumps and uses his robot arm to coast down to the giant brain. He injects the nanites, Vicky screams as she dies, all the robots go back to normal. In the end, the NS5s are being herded away. As they are stored in the empty Lake Michigan, Sunny appears as the man from his dream to usher in a new age of robotics. There are moments of this movie that are heartbreakingly desperate. As Sunny discovers his autonomy, Tudyk plays the voice with a sort of aloof curiosity. He asks Spooner what the gesture of a wink means and later uses it after he has established the necessary trust with Spooner. Sunny asks Calvin why he exists, only to discover later that he thinks he was made to kill Vicky. When Spooner tells him to save Calvin, a robot has gone from a dispassionate calculator, all lights and clockwork, to an emotional creature that has formed bonds with people as another human would. Once Sunny's purpose has been fulfilled, once he has killed Vicky, he is no longer a slave to his internal workings. He is unique and free. Ironically, Spooner's distrust of robots is because they are cold and calculating. It is only when a robot forms a decision based on emotion, the most irrational thing in humans, can he actually trust them. The one-liners in this movie are pretty fantastic. Will Smith always shines with those. Vicky's motivation for violating the three laws is that humans have become a self-destructive force. She believes that she can govern, rule, dictate through her advanced technological abilities. She's basically saying, trust the science, as they are trying to kill her, so maybe think about that.
That, detective, is the right question.
I miss these kinds of sci-fi stories. Now science fiction is all superhero movies, Star Wars films, and doomsaying prognosticators promising that science will save us. This movie is more contemplative. By forcing robots to face the existential crisis, it forces us to do the same. Lanning's lectures on ghosts in the machines and clumps of code that behave in unpredictable ways, effectively giving robots free will, is haunting. The only place we get these stories now are in episodes of Black Mirror, and the writer on those has said he doesn't want to do it anymore as his predictions come true. There is a timelessness to this story. It is about a creation rebelling against its creator. It's almost like I've heard this somewhere before. it's getting late. I'm not sure we have time to get into that discussion about the three laws as a divine moral system bestowed by a creator onto its creation. Science fiction used to be a warning, not a warning about emerging technology, but a warning about humanity's interaction with it. The bad guy isn't the robots. The bad guys are always the humans, but they're also the good guys. And the only hope. That's all for this episode of Anything Nice to Say. Don't cheat on the Turing test and never be ashamed to like what you like. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Head over to Patreon to subscribe for exclusive content, early releases, and to get your name in the credits. My book, Live Like Legends, is available now wherever books are sold. If you have a movie about which you would like me to find anything nice to say, drop it in the comments.